Hey guys, what's up? It's Scatter. This is going to be my pre-patch guide for the Marksmanship Hunter. Today we're going to be going over stat priority, talents, Azerite, essences, rotation, and combos. If you're new here, welcome to the channel. I hope it helps you out, and feel free to subscribe if you want to see more. Timestamps will be in the description below so you can quickly navigate this video. Now, let's go ahead and hop into it. Alright, so first we'll talk about stat priority, and then we'll go over gearing a little bit. I had an 8.3 guide for Marksmanship Hunter, but just a few things have changed since then. So starting off with our stats, we will want Mastery first and then Versatility second. For your other stats, it doesn't really matter what you get. Mastery and Versatility both increase our damage, but Mastery gives us more damage per point. You can see here, with 361 Mastery, I'm getting a 58% damage increase, and here, with 216 Verse, I'm only getting a 17% damage increase. Even with double the amount of versatility, I still won't be getting as much damage as what the Mastery is providing me with. These two stats together are really nice as well, because Mastery will increase the range of all of your abilities, which is great for things like Battlegrounds, and then Versatility will decrease the amount of damage that you take. But the percent damage component from both of them tied together is really nice as well. Both of these are giving me about a 75% passive damage increase. If you watched my 8.3 Marksmanship Hunter PVP guide, you'll know that I did recommend using a trinket called the Pearl Diver's Compass. This is a trinket that you get from a world quest, and even though it's really low, it gives you a ton of mastery for 12 seconds, and it's an on-use. So this right here gives you 190 mastery for 12 seconds. It's a little more than half of my current mastery, and this equals out to around a 20% damage increase. But since we lost all of our corruptions, so we no longer have the mastery amps that work on our gear, I did some testing and I found out that the trinkets that are on use to give you primary stats do more damage. I've done a lot of testing on here, and this ended up doing more damage than the Pearl Diver's Compass. So if you have a trinket that offers you primary stat on use, mine is really low, so if you have one that has a higher item level and you have similar gear to mine, you'll probably do a lot more damage than me. And then secondly, you want to make sure that you have a trinket. They have removed the trinkets from the PvP talents tree, so you need to make sure that you go ahead and get one. These can be found at the honor vendors over in Stormwind and Orgrimmar. They're pretty cheap, just make sure that you pick one up. A lot of people are getting globaled right now, or it can die in a stun lock, so you want to make sure that you have one of these. Alright, so for your essences, you have a lot of different options and variations that you could run that all work, but this is what I will run primarily. Breath of the Dying Major has a really short cooldown, does a lot of damage. I'll mostly use it like an execute. For my miners, I'll run Vision of Perfection just to get that reduced cooldown on true shots, and then also some versatility. Crucible of Flame, if you're not running this is one of the best essences right now. You want to make sure that you have it either as a major or a minor, as it does a ton of damage. And then lastly, I have Memory of Lucid Dreams. I'm running this just to get some of the focus that I spend refunded, and then it'll also give you some versatility as well, so it's all really nice. Some of the things that you could swap out, Breath of the Dying is really good offensively. If you are doing solo content like BGs by yourself, or if you're doing twos and you want to live longer, you can swap this out for Crucible of Flame, so that way you have the option to do damage but also to heal as well. So you can swap these. If you're going for the most damage possible, one of the things that you could run is Worldvane Resonance as a major, and then keep Crucible as a minor, and then also you're going to want Breath of the Dying as a minor as well, and then pick whatever you want for your third minor slot. But Worldvane Resonance, the on-use, will give you a ton of your primary stats of agility, and then also your on-use trinkets will give you a ton of agility, so if you pair that with a double tap and a rapid fire, you're going to do a lot of damage. Now let's go ahead and talk about your Azerite traits. The most important thing is that you're going to want 3 focused fire and 3 surging shots. For this build, we're just trying to buff the damage of our rapid fire as much as possible to make it do a ton of damage. So make sure that you have 3 focus fire and 3 surging shots. My reforge cost is ridiculously high, so I can't show you guys this right now, but I have Blood Siphon on 2 out of 3 of these pieces. If I could reforge, I would have it on this one as well, so try to aim for 3 Blood Siphons too. These are just going to give you passive mastery, which, as we mentioned earlier, is very strong. And then also, try to make sure that you have at least 1 Duck and Cover, so that you have the reduced cooldown on Feign Death. These Azerite traits are very important for buffing the damage of your rapid fire. Let me see if I can give you guys a comparison real quick. So right now, my rapid fire does 5,900. Let's just call that 6k. And let's go ahead and take off these pieces and just see how much this changes it to. So no rapid fire, no surging shots. It was around 6k. Now it's around 3,800. And then also I have a talent here that's buffing the damage of rapid fire. So let's go ahead and take that off too. So right now we're at 3,300. We've lost almost half the damage on our rapid fire. And then let's go ahead and put this back on here. Alright, now we're back up to around 6k. And our aim shot only hits for 3,400. So our rapid fire does a monstrous amount of damage, and if we double tap here, we pop our on use, we were at around 6k, now we are at 13k, so a ton of damage coming out from your rapid fire. Just thought that I'd mention that real quick to highlight the importance of your Azerite traits. They are very important, and then we'll go ahead and hop over to talents here in just a second. Okay, so moving on to talents. I'm glad that I'm not doing one of my 10-minute guides, because now I can go into detail about why talents are good and why other talents are not good. So let's start with the first one. We have Master Marksman. Anytime you get a crit with your special range attacks, so like aim shot as an example, the target will take 15% of the damage as bleed damage over 6 seconds. This is really good for a variety of reasons. One was that crits were unnerfed, so now crits will do more damage, causing this bleed to do more damage as well. And secondly, is that it's bleed damage, and bleed damage can go through armor. Now, the reason that these two are not good, Murder of Crows, it's on a 1-minute cooldown. It'll do 3,000 physical damage, so it is negated by armor, and that's not a lot of damage over 15 seconds. My aim shot hits for 3,400, so it's less damage than an aim shot, and it's going to be over 15 seconds. Serpent Sting does even less than that. It's about half of the damage over 18 seconds, and it's dispellable. So these two are not good. I would always pick Master Marksman. For the level 25 talent row, we have Explosive Shots. This is an ability that will do a lot of damage on a 30-second cooldown. The only thing that you have to be mindful of is that it does break CC. This is going to be the best option in the talent row. Careful Aim, while it does look good, your aim shot does 50% bonus damage to targets that are above 70% health. This is actually nerfed down to 20% in PvP, and our whole build that we are going for is maximizing the damage of our rapid fire, and I will show you guys later how Explosive Shot fits into our combo. Barrage is a talent that we will never pick. It does very little damage, and it's target capped to only 8 targets, so this is one that I would never recommend picking. For the level 30 row, we only have 2 options here. That's going to be Camouflage and Natural Mending. If you are doing solo content like BGs, 1v1s, or if you're doing an arena and you need a really strong opener, then Camouflage is really good for that. If you don't need a strong opener, the Natural Mending is a good alternative, as it will net you more exhilarations over the course of a fight. For the 35 talent row, our 2 options here are going to be Streamline and Chimera Shots. I highly recommend Streamline because, like we mentioned earlier, our Azerite traits are buffing the damage of our rapid fire. So for instance, if we take a look here, my rapid fire does almost 6,000 damage. If I spec out of Streamline, it's going to cause me to do 5,200 damage, so it is quite a significant DPS loss. You can run Chimera Shots as it hits just a little bit harder than Arcane Shots. If we take a look here, my Chimera Shot hits for 1,142 and my Arcane Shot hits for 1,054. So it does just a little bit more damage, but one thing to keep in mind is that it does benefit from our Precise Shots passive. This passive makes it to where whenever you aim shot, your next 1 to 2 Chimera Shots or Arcane Shots will do 75% more damage. So since this ability already does a little bit more damage than Arcane Shot, that is buffed even more due to the Precise Shots passive. One thing to note about running Chimera Shot is that it does break CC, so for this build I am going to recommend running Streamline. The 40 talent row, our only option here is Post Haste. It's just a strong utility ability, allowing you to either run, kites, or land traps. Binding Shackles, I don't know why this talent is in the game. I think it needs a complete rework and overhaul, or it just needs to be completely replaced in general. This is an ability that you will never run. Born to be Wild could be really good, I just think that Post Haste is too strong to pass up. For the 45 talent row, we have Double Tap. This is a 1 minute burst cooldown that will essentially double the damage of our aim shots or rapid fire. This has a lot of synergy with the Streamline talent, and like I mentioned earlier, the Streamline talent has a lot of synergy with our Azerite traits here, our Focused Fire, and our Surging Shots. So all we're doing is we're buffing this rapid fire to make it as huge as possible, and then whenever you pop Double Tap, you're going to go from 6k to almost 12k damage, and then if you pop your On Use, we are at 13,000 damage. I think that the Deadeye talent is a noob trap. Unless they're in execute range, you get no benefit from this talent. If you have a 5-minute arena match, then that's 5 double taps you could have used instead. Sometimes when the target gets into execute range, it takes just 1 kill shot to finish them off. Without double tap, it will be hard to get them into execute range in the first place, so I think double tap is too valuable to pass up. For the level 50 talent row, we have Lock and Load, which just gives your attacks a chance to proc an instant aim shot. This can be really good, especially in situations where you land CC on a healer and you get one of these procs. It can lead to a lot of burst damage. The other option that we have here is Volley, and I would only recommend this in BGs where people tend to stack up, like Temple of Kot Magoo or Eye of the Storm in the middle. Now, Volley does a lot of AoE damage, and it's also going to give you our Trick Shots passive. This passive makes it to where our aim shots and our rapid fire will hit up to the nearest 5 targets, so if you double tap into a rapid fire with this build, it will do a ton of AoE damage. Moving on to your PvP talents, I would run Scatter Shots and Survival Tactics by default. Scatter Shot's really good. You have the option to scatter into a trap. You can use it as a peel if there's a melee, maybe like a rogue on your healer, he kidneys them. You can scatter shots if you really need the peel. Sometimes that peel will be the difference between life and death. You can also use it to stop a very important cast from getting off. Next, I would recommend Survival Tactics. It has a ton of use, a 99% damage reduction. You can use this on things like Warlock's Chaos Bolt, Rhett Pally's Execution Sentence. It just has a ton of uses, and it also removes magical effects. So if you're going up against like a Shadow Priest or anything that has an Obsidian Claw, it is really good for removing that damage over time effect. For your third PvP talents, you can swap this out depending on the situation. I really like High Explosive Trap. There's some maps that you can use in Arena where it can win you games, such as Blade's Edge or Delaran Sewers. You can also use it in BGs, or you can use it to gain some ground against melee classes. I'll post 2 clips here just as an example of how it could be used. One of our best PvP talents is Roar of Sacrifice. This gives you a 100% chance to be immune to critical strikes for 12 seconds. This is a great defensive, especially against comps that do a lot of damage like Rogue Mage, and this talent is especially strong against Fire Mages as it will completely negate their combustion. Next we have Sniper Shot. This is one of my favorite PvP talents. I use this a lot in BGs, open world PvP, or in certain 2s matches. I have a combo with this ability that I will show you guys later in the video. If you're just wanting to do a lot of damage, then True Shot is a good talent. It'll give you focus when you use it, so you don't have to pull your focus beforehand, and it'll reduce the cooldown of your True Shot so you can do more damage more often. Lastly, we have Spider Sting. This ability is great when you don't need something as defensive as Roar of Sacrifice. If you time this correctly, you can make an Ellie Shaman cancel their own Lightning Lasso. It also works great against Disc Priest because they often cast damaging abilities, or if you're using it on a caster when they're casting CC, it'll cause them to be silenced afterwards so that way they can't follow it up with any damage. Before we hop into your rotation, I do want to stress the importance of saving your damage for when you have CC. Always try to make sure you have rapid fire and a charge of aim shot for when you start a CC chain. Due to all of our talents and Azerite traits that we went over earlier, rapid fire does a ton of damage and we need to make sure that we are saving it. Your normal rotation itself is pretty simple. Every time you cast aim shot, you'll want to follow it up with an arcane shots or chimera shots to make sure that we are making use of the precise shots passive. Make sure you don't cap on focus by casting arcane shot as a filler. If you need to generate focus, cast steady shot. It's very important to always be casting something as a marksmanship hunter, so if you're moving, make sure you're casting arcane shots or steady shots depending on what you're needing. For double tap, you can use it on aim shots or rapid fire. This next part is very important. You can use it on rapid fire and it will do more damage, but be aware that if you get CC'd at all during the channel of your rapid fire, even after the first tick, you will lose all the damage from the rest of the channel. This is a huge DPS loss, so I would highly recommend using your double tap on aim shot, unless you are 100% certain that you won't be getting stopped on rapid fire. One neat trick, if you didn't already know, is that you can start casting rapid fire and run behind a pillar, and it will continue channeling. This is great if you don't want to be interrupted during the cast. For your true shots, it is basically the same as your normal rotation, just sped up. You still want to make sure that you're using your arcane shots or chimera shots after you cast your aim shots to make use of the precise shots passive, and you'll want to be using rapid fire on cooldown. You will cap on aim shots at some point, but don't worry, this is completely normal. If you want a more advanced guide on your rotation, I'd recommend checking out your class Discord or one of the guides on Icy Veins or Wowhead. Lastly, I'm going to include this because it's very important as well. Make sure to keep your target slowed with concussive shot and make sure you are using tranquilizing shot too. Tranq shot can take off important buffs, hots, or just cause the healer to spend more mana by refreshing their buffs. And also, don't forget to kill shot targets that are below 20% health. Alright, and lastly we'll go over combos and pets since they're both pretty quick. You have a few different variations of the combo, but for the most part they're all very similar. So for this first one, this one's going to be optional if you're looking to 100-0 someone, but I don't recommend it in every situation, mostly in BGs or very specific 2s. So you're going to want to run sniper shots, and then I'll show you how it ties into the combo here. So you're going to go camo, you're going to pop double tap beforehand, and then you're going to sniper shot the targets to get some initial damage, explosive shots, pop your burst, and then rapid fire. The reasoning behind the combo is that the sniper shot is just to give you some initial damage, and then you pop explosive shot first, and once you double tap rapid fire, the explosion goes off during the rapid fire, and it's basically going to chunk them while they're taking the rapid fire damage. The second version of the combo is pretty much the same thing, except you're not going to be running sniper shots, so you would just camo, double tap, explosive shots, and then rapid fire. Alright, and then for the last combo, same thing, except instead of using rapid fire, we're going to use aim shots. So once again, camo, double tap, explosive shots, pop your burst, and then cast an aim shots. And the idea around this is that your aim shot's going to connect, your double tap aim shot's going to connect, and the explosion is going to hit all at the same time, causing a large burst of damage. Alright, and lastly guys, you're going to want to make sure that you have a cunning pet. This is going to give you the Master's Call ability, which is going to be able to give you or one of your allies a freedom for 4 seconds. This is really good at getting your healer out of things like Root Beam, or a Frost Nova into a Ring of Frost, or if you're playing with like a melee DPS and they need to kites, or if you need to kites, it has a ton of uses. And you're also going to want to make sure that you have either a Hyena or a Raptor, because they provide the Mortal Wounds debuff, which is going to reduce the amount of healing that the target takes. This debuff is something you're always going to want to have at least one person on your team provide. And that's going to wrap it up for this video, guys. If you liked the video, feel free to subscribe, and if you want to support the channel, consider becoming a Patreon, where our supporters are able to earn cool loot. There will be a link down in the description below if you want to go ahead and check that out. Once again, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.